Hey everybody, welcome to the Cop House Podcast. I'm Doug and I'm the son.
And I'm Ron, I'm the dad.
This is a bi-weekly podcast that covers all things policing. We are a father and son combination with over 33 combined years of police experience. Our show will tackle anything and everything you could possibly think of regarding the great policing profession. Nothing's off limits.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Cop House Podcast. We are two generations, one great calling.
You have
Doug.
to pardon my voice today.
Yes. Well, you're losing your voice. I think our guest might be losing his voice. We're going to be a lot of fun today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, how was your week?
No, don't start.
I did it last time, so I'm going to do it to you every time now.
Great. Yeah. Do you really want me to tell you all about my week? No, I'm not going to.
We're going to run out of time.
Hey, we did not record last week. And the audience, the faithful audience members I spoke to were livid.
Yeah, we had to adjust because we're doing every other week, and we had to make it the opposite every other week.
Right.
For scheduling reasons, so we did not have one last week.
Yes. So we can't let that happen again.
No, never again.
No, never. Hey, we have an exciting show today, Doug.
We have a guest.
We have a guest.
We do.
It's been a couple weeks since we've had a guest. Is it okay if I go ahead and introduce our guest?
Do it.
And his topic?
Yep.
We have with us today Deputy Danny Greenwood, and he works with you, Doug.
Yes.
Yes.
We work for the same, as we have called it in the past, semi-rural county sheriff's office.
That's right, here in Southeast Michigan. Deputy Danny Greenwood has been with the semi-rural sheriff's office for 6 years. He started out in the jail, working as a corrections deputy. He did that for about 1 year, and since then, he's been on patrol for 5 years. And for about 2 years now, Deputy Greenwood has had a specialty that he's going to talk about here on the show. Deputy Greenwood, can I call you Danny?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Danny is a dog handler. He has a K-9, and the dog's name is?
Arlo.
Arlo is 2 years old. I'm not going to go into it right now, what kind of dog he is. I'll let you cover that. You know Arlo better than anyone. But Deputy Greenwood has been with the sheriff's office for 6 years, 5 years on patrol. And when we have a guest dog, I like to give a little bio on the person and talk about some of their accomplishments. Danny has recently got a life-saving award for something he did in 2023. He saved the life of a suicidal person by applying a tourniquet to an area of his body where he was bleeding substantially. And I believe the medical people who treated him said, yeah, the deputy saved his life. So, Danny, well done. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. On the Cop House Podcast, we try to do two things, Danny. And again, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thrilled that you're here with us. On the Cop House Podcast, we try to do two things. We try to tell interesting stories. So I'm hoping, we were talking a little bit offline before Doug hit the record button, that you do have some cool stories, and I can't wait to hear them. Our audience can't wait to hear them. But we also like to explain to our audience some of the ins and outs of policing. So let's start there. Let's start generally. You've been a K-9 handler for 2 years now.
Yep.
For our audience who might not be aware of what a K-9 handler does, could you describe some of the duties and responsibilities of a K-9 handler generally, and then we can talk about what you do specifically?
Yeah, so basically the dog itself is, anything that a human cannot find, dogs can generally, for the most part. There's different variables that go into play, like weather, wind, stuff like that, but for the most part, if you have a bomb threat or, if you have suspected drugs that are in a vehicle or something like that, you want some verification, and a well-trained dog will, give you that validation that there's either drugs or some kind of bomb or explosive material there in a certain area. So
when you say there's things that humans can't find but dogs can, so are you primarily talking about tracking here?
Tracking human odor,
okay,
mostly, That's because that's what the dog is trained to smell for.
Is Arlo a tracking dog
Yes. Yeah.
primarily, or does Arlo have other?
Tracking is where we make our money.
What do you mean by that?
There's he is a bomb dog, but
Okay.
there's not a whole lot of bomb threats in this area.
Arlo
so-
is a bomb dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Is it common for a K-9 working for a police agency to be tracking and bomb
Well, that
cross-trained?
really goes on what your or what the agency's command wants, really.
Okay.
So, like our agency's command, they want three or four narc dogs. We're still filling in positions right now for the handler spots.
Okay.
But the sheriff, he wanted a bomb dog for sure. So
Okay. So Arlo does not do narcotics.
no.
Oh, that sounded funny, didn't it, Doug?
Yeah.
Hey, Sheriff, don't do a random drug test on Arlo because he
Right.
doesn't do narcotics.
Right. Yeah. Nobody tests the dog.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. Arlo doesn't sniff or
Detect.
thank you.
Yeah.
Sniff.
Yep.
What an idiot.
He doesn't sniff narcotics. That's not much better than he doesn't do narcotics.
No, I'm Doug. Just take over the interview. I'm bombing here.
Well, good thing he's a bomb dog. So,
Brother.
oh, you're getting killed out here.
Roll the credits. Okay, let me start over. Arlo does not detect. I got to get control here.
Grab
All right.
some coffee. Be all
All
right.
right. Arlo does not detect narcotics.
Correct.
Okay. Arlo detects explosives.
Yes.
All right.
And there's a reason for that.
Go. We're all ears.
So you can't cross train the dogs because think about it like this from a legality standpoint. Say you're a defense attorney and
Okay.
your client,
I'd rather not be a defense attorney, but go on.
for the sake of the story, you are.
All right.
Okay. So you're a defense attorney. Your client is facing many years in prison for, he had, say, 10 kilos of cocaine in the trunk of his vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if the dog that led you or led the police to that find,
Mm-hmm.
if that dog was also trained in explosives, it'd be very easy for a defense attorney to say, well, how do you know he didn't have
Okay.
C4 back there?
I see. Okay. And for our audience, I think what Danny's alluding to here is, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. To get a conviction in the American criminal justice system, the state or the people have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this person did the crime that he or she's been accused of. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying if you've got a cross-trained dog, explosives and dope, narcotics, there could be reasonable doubt there that
Correct.
that it
Yeah.
actually was cocaine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right on. I'm tracking with you. See what I did there, Doug?
I don't know if you made it better or worse.
I'm dying here. I'm dying. All right, Danny, let me back up a little bit. You said humans can't find certain things, but dogs can.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want you to get super scientific or anatomical on me, but why? Why is it that dogs can find stuff that humans can't? And please don't say because they sniff better.
They sniff drugs better, obviously.
Or they detect better.
Yeah.
Is there something going on in the dog's nose or in his brain or something? I mean, or do
It's
you not
just-
know? Am I being an idiot here?
No, it's just their noses. They rely a lot on their noses, to smell things, and that's a really good way for them to find their way around.
Okay.
Dogs see two-dimensional. They don't see like us,
Mm.
so it's harder for them to see, and that's really why their nose is so strong, is because they rely a lot on that.
I had once heard somebody say that the dog's nerve endings, and maybe Doug, help me out here. Am I butchering this? That the nerve endings in a dog's nose it's like 1,000 to 1 compared to a human.
I think it's like smell receptors or something like that. I don't know. We're not scientists here.
Yeah.
We're all cops here for a reason.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Because we're not real smart in other areas.
we don't know science stuff.
All right. Okay, so Arlo would you say he's cross-trained? Is that a fair way to say it? Cross-trained in...
I would say he's trained in multiple different categories,
Okay.
areas.
All right. Can you talk about, you've already hinted on the explosives. What other areas?
So the explosives, he's got 20 different odors imprinted into them. And it's a running joke in my presentations, in my K-9 demos, because I'll say, that's why we're better than dope dogs. It's because they only need 4, but we need 20. So
To certify? Or
certification is only 6 odors that we have to know. Main odors, really. But all the other stuff that you put into the dog, and Arlo was super easy to train. He was real receptive with his stuff, so he picked up on it really quick. I was fortunate enough with him, but the dope dogs, they only have 4 different odors. So
I got to ask, is there friendly competition between explosive dogs and dope dogs?
There
and
is
arson
yes.
dogs.
Yes, in my training group, there is friendly competition.
All right,
yeah.
cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Kind of like between cops and firefighters. All right.
Yeah.
I had kind of a follow-up question. So you said
Yeah.
there's only 6 that you need to certify, but there's 20 that he's trained in to be considered like a fully trained explosives dog.
Well, it's just
I guess just what's
I
the
guess
difference between
they're
the
bonus.
certify?
For me, they're bonus odors.
Okay.
Okay, so like a lot of them are odors that the normal person doesn't have, accessibility to. That's kind of advanced stuff. And you're talking like, really, I guess the what's the word I'm looking for? It'd be like a terrorist cell type organizations. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So.
Oh, you mean like he can smell for materials that would be harder for people to actually
obtain.
acquire?
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So more rare compounds or
Yes.
materials. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
At the basic level, is he trained for gunpowder?
Oh yeah, he
okay.
knows smokeless powder and black powder.
Okay, so he can smell a firearm on a person.
Yeah. Could he find ammunition?
He can find ammunition. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
I didn't
done
know
it.
that. That's
yeah,
cool.
he's done it.
Wow.
But and also too is shell casings.
Okay.
When a round is expended, that burnt
Yep.
powder is a
Yeah,
different
the residue.
smell.
Sure.
Yes, it's a different smell than a regular smokeless powder, black powder.
He can detect that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that would come in handy on a shooting scene in
Oh, yeah.
tall
Yeah.
grass. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Have you been to scenes like
you
that
know,
yet?
we had a homicide in a local city here. This was last summer. You remember this one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
If we're talking about the same one, then yeah.
It was the corner store one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
so they were all the city officers were out, and they're walking around looking for this other.
ruining the scene.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the dog.
yeah.
Yeah, as
They're-
cops do. Yeah.
Which there's going to be another story I think about ruining a scene here
Oh
shortly.
yeah, there will be.
And just for our audience, in my experience with canine handlers, nothing irritates them more than to have a bunch of cops traipse through the scene for 2 hours, and then finally somebody says, "Hey, let's call a dog."
Yeah,
and
it's
then
frustrating.
by the time the dog gets there, 15 cops have ruined any
Yep.
ability to track. Go on.
The homicide, anyways.
So this isn't our scene. This isn't my agency's scene. So I'm kind of letting them just do their thing, and I'm thinking to myself, if you're looking for another shell casing, my dog can find it.
Yeah.
But and I had made that comment to one of the officers, and they had a couple detectives there, and then I think our detective bureau ended up taking it over. But the officer I told that to, I was like, hey, my dog can probably find it. And he's like, I don't know. Well, I'm sure we can find it. It's right in this general area. I'm like, all right, man, this is your scene.
Sure. Right.
I'm not going to step on your toes and just get my dog out and start doing all that.
Yeah,
So-
find it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took them probably about 15, 20 minutes to find this thing, though. They ended up finding it, but still, it's the fact of,
Arlo could have.
my dog is pretty quick at finding that
Right,
stuff,
right.
So
That's cool.
yeah, whatever.
God forbid we make it easy on everyone.
I know.
Danny, being an explosives dog, do you sometimes get called out of your county? Or have you or?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in my training group. They put out text messages a lot. You know, I train with a lot of Metro Detroit agencies, and you know, sometimes if there's a big building, you know, God, they had let's see, it was a 940,000 square foot building or something like that. You know, not a couple months ago, that needed to get cleared out and bomb swept, and they put out a text. It's always at the most inconvenient times that I get the text message and I can't go.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So,
all right. Gotcha.
You know, it's disappointing, but you know, I'm out of town or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, gosh.
Yeah.
But
I asked the question, Danny, because Doug and I have a cousin. He's my first cousin. Doug's second cousin.
Once removed.
Once
or
removed.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. He was an explosive K-9 handler up in the Upper Peninsula, and he would go as far west as Green Bay, Wisconsin, to help sweep Lambeau Field for the Packers, and as far east as Sault Ste. Marie. So I asked the question because I figured, well, let me ask you this. If there's 100 police K-9 dogs, roughly what percentage is going to be explosives versus narcotics?
Man, you took my question that I was just thinking of.
So I'll let Doug ask the question.
Yeah. What he said.
so are you saying like just in general, or for some kind of event, or
roughly? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say there's more dope dogs than there are explosive
yes,
dogs.
there is. Yeah.
Do you have a ratio? Do you have a rough percent, 90, 10?
I don't. I can tell you in my training group, there's probably, it's probably 4.5 to 5 to 1.
Okay.
You know, dope dogs.
So about 20% or
yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
If I did the math correctly, which I probably did not.
Well, again, we're cops for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
I just do dog work, so.
Right. Any arson dogs in your training group?
No, we don't have any arson or we don't have any arson dogs in our training group.
Okay.
No, just dope and bomb.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it. What else does Arlo do besides the explosives? And I mean, we could spend a whole show just talking about the explosives. It's fascinating.
it is.
The 20 different odors. I mean, we could talk about that for a long time. But
Yeah. I mean, there's some stories we want to get to as well. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. So we got to keep that in mind. But what else is he trained to do?
Article search. That was.
Let me stop.
Okay.
I told you I was going to do this.
Yeah.
I warned you I was going to do this. What's an article search? Just for our audience.
Article search is when, some bad guy commits a crime and he runs away because he's so scared of the police and get caught that he drops something.
Okay.
Whether it be a gun or even if bad guy has a gun, he's like, well, it's inevitable I'm going to get caught. So I'm going to ditch this gun over here in these bushes.
Okay.
So he throws the gun over there, whatever. Well, later on it comes out that he had a buddy do the crime with him. It was like, hey, my buddy had a gun. And I know he ditched it. Well, through a little bit of investigating, you can figure out, well, he was over here at the building. He ran over to that barn. Somewhere in between that building and that barn where we caught him, there's a gun.
Right.
So let's get a dog out and mostly what the dog does is, Arlo's a bomb dog, can smell gunpowder and stuff like that. But when it comes to a gun, he's more or less smelling for human odor that's on the gun.
What if it was, I don't know, a stolen sack of cash or something? Could he smell? Could he detect that too?
If there's enough human odor on it, then he'll indicate on it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. What he does is, usually what I do is, I'll get him in the heel, and this was very hard with him. This is probably the hardest thing I had to do to train with him was article search because, I had him since he was 10 weeks old. So he was very attached to me.
Yeah.
And, he was very dependent on me. So he didn't want to really leave me and leave my side. So he wanted me to mostly follow him. So
I've only known you for 20 minutes, and I'm already attached to you. So, yeah.
Man, you got jokes today.
I know. Hey, you know what? How about I shut up and let Danny continue?
So how I did it was, I would put him on like a 15, 20 foot lead, and I would just pay no mind to him, no attention. You know, I'd just walk around. I wouldn't even look at him, and then that kind of would build his confidence, and then he would just get curious naturally because a dog gets curious, right, about its surroundings.
Right.
So he smell, and then as soon as he would smell the human odor on the object, he'd look at me. I'd look at him because I keep an eye on my peripherals.
Yeah.
And I would tell him sit, and then he would sit, and then I'd pay him his toy.
Okay.
So then after, so many repetitions of that, he's like, okay, I get my ball every time I find something with this smell on it.
Right.
So I think I should do this.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of how it was. It was difficult, but we got it.
Maybe our audience has seen this. I know I have. Sometimes you'll see a dog when they get to the object that they've found. You'll see them scratching at it.
Yeah.
Does Arlo do that?
No. You know what he does?
What? Okay. What does he do?
He will, if I don't pay him fast enough, he will nudge it with his nose.
Okay.
And he'll look at me. Hey, I found it.
Okay.
Hey, I found it. Where's my ball?
This may seem like an obvious question, but why doesn't he scratch at it?
I don't know. I can't answer that because he's never done that.
Okay. Well, why wasn't he trained to scratch at it?
Well, mostly because he's a bomb dog.
Thank you.
So if he's scratching at a bomb, look out.
Yeah, you guys are all in trouble.
Yeah.
Because is that something that they mostly train dope dogs to do? Is to scratch at it and try to.
You know what? I think it's just I don't know. I really don't have the answer for that. But if I were to speculate on it, it would be that it doesn't matter. It's just natural for the dog to do it, and why break that of the dog if he's only scratching at drugs?
Okay.
So a dog that does that, they would probably not look at that dog and be like, "Oh, let's make him a bomb dog."
Right.
Yeah, probably not a good thing on his resume to have.
Right.
Oh, he's a scratcher. Yeah, let's make him a bomb dog.
Now there is some dogs that some bomb dogs that is on my training group that does paw or scratch at where the source of odor is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very minimal. It's probably like one or two. But they're doing, I'm not really sure what they're doing to combat that. I haven't really talked to them about it. I think I'll talk to them next time and get you that answer.
Sure, but I mean, it's just, I guess, then kind of easier for you just because Arlo doesn't naturally tend to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Arlo detects explosives. He does article searches. What else does he do?
Arlo's also trained in building searches.
Okay. So what's he searching for in a building search?
Bad guys.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. He's also trained in area searches, which is the same. He's looking for bad guys in a larger area. Mostly, it's more preferred that in an area search, if it's kind of like a fenced-in area, say like a tow yard or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's primarily what I would let Arlo go, and check out.
Okay.
Off lead, right? If it's fenced in, it's off lead. I want to be able to have eyes on them. I can't.
When you say off lead, you mean not on a leash?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because if if it's like a 15-acre tow yard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna do that off lead.
Probably couldn't catch up to him.
Right. Yeah.
He's fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's fast.
Yeah.
Our audience has probably seen the movies and the TV shows where the officer shows up and they go grab a sock from the kid's sock drawer and they go, "Here, smell this, boy. Now go." How realistic is that, Danny?
I have done that. Let's see. All of one time.
Okay.
I think it was more of like a dog and pony show too.
Okay.
Arlo doesn't need that.
Oh, okay.
Because the human odor, a lot of people don't realize, I guess, what this human odor is. I keep saying it. But it's dead skin cells that fall off your body, right? And fear scent is actually a real scent. I don't know if you've ever heard that, Ron. Fear scent.
No, I haven't. Interesting.
Yeah, so your body gives off a different smell and aroma, whenever you're in fear of getting caught by the police, like bad guys usually do.
Right. Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
and then Arlo is, when he smells that,
Yeah.
man, he gets
Excited.
like that other night. He was freaking trying to get in the woods and
Oh yeah, even as a not handler, like because I've gone on a couple tracks with you.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even like me not being a dog handler, I can tell the difference between when he's just kind of looking around and when he like finds the scent trail. I
Yeah.
guess he just behaves totally differently.
Yeah, and then especially when the bad guy is bedded down. When we got him bedded down, oh man, yeah, look out because his odor is pluming out. He's scared.
Okay.
And he's sweating.
Oh, it's concentrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Because he's not moving.
Yeah, right, exactly, and it just starts getting large. The areas, of the human odor starts getting larger, larger,
spreads
larger,
out.
Spreads out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Just like the other night, which
Yeah,
we'll probably talk about in a
exactly.
couple minutes here.
I think I got there too fast because yeah, I don't. We'll get into that later.
Right.
Will Arlo search for lost children or
Yeah.
an Alzheimer's patient? Or
Yeah. I got a really good story about a suicidal subject
Good.
that Arlo found.
Excellent. If you had Arlo and somebody tried to assault you, is Arlo going to come unhinged and
God, I
try
hope.
to? Well, is he trained? Is he trained to protect you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, if I haven't done a whole lot of scenarios with that, but he has a certain word, which I tell him, Stellan, which it means bite.
Okay.
And if I tell him that, then 100% of the time he goes and does it.
Okay.
So I would hope and think that he would
Okay.
help me out.
But he's been trained in is that
aggression-
called protection?
Aggression.
Okay, aggression.
Yeah.
Is that the technical term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At least that's what my certification sheet says.
All right. So, just to summarize: explosives, article search, building search, area search, aggression.
Yep.
Are we missing anything with respect to Arlo?
Obedience.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing is, training, certification is that, you can't certify anything else off leash unless you certify an obedience first.
That's
So
like the
you can
That's
still,
the foundation of
yes,
it. Okay.
yes.
Right. Okay.
You can certify in everything else still on lead, but it has to be on lead.
Okay.
All right. So if you don't certify an obedience, it's not a big deal.
Got it.
It's a big deal if you have a big ego and you're like, well, I don't want to go in there with my dog on a leash. I don't want to go in that house. I want to send him in there off leash and just stand by the door and listen for him to bark or bite. Well, so
Okay.
yeah.
We didn't ask this. What kind of dog is Arlo? He's 2 years old, right?
Yep.
Coming up
Yep.
on his birthday here
Yep.
in a few days. So yeah.
Yeah, he's
Got a big party planned for him. And
Yeah.
little,
I don't know if we're working or not. I haven't even looked. If we're working, then usually whenever he tracks a bad guy, he gets a cheeseburger, a McDouble from McDonald's.
Nice.
So he got his the other day.
Well, he's only 14, so he can still get away with eating that way, right?
Yeah.
2 times 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
What kind of dog is he?
So he is a Belgian Malinois.
Okay.
A lot of people think he's a German Shepherd.
Right.
I love telling them no.
Okay.
Dog snob, are you?
Yeah, he's the first Malinois I've ever had, and oh my God, I don't recommend anyone getting these dogs as
Why?
as a house dog.
Oh,
no
okay.
way. If you're gonna work with them or you're gonna do stuff with the dog and keep it active,
Yeah.
it's got to burn energy.
Okay.
Because my God, he is just so freaking just 100 miles a minute
Yeah.
every time.
Do you have other dogs in the house?
I do.
Okay. How does Arlo get along with?
So she is a I want to say she's 12 now. 12 years old, German short hair pointer, blue heeler mix, and she is not productive to society whatsoever.
Kind of like my dog laying over there.
That is what my dog does right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She, we got her when I was in the Army and back in 2013. And, yeah, she was a great dog back then, but my gosh, she is just lazy. And she's gotten fat.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
So-
All right.
but yeah, they get along.
All right,
Yeah.
good. By the way, thank you for your service
No,
to our
thank you.
nation. How long
Thank
were you
you.
in the service?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is it story time, Doug, or do we have more questions about the?
I had a quick follow-up question to the obedience thing and the certification. So
Yeah.
just to kind of clarify, because I didn't know this. So with the obedience thing, if you have the obedience certification, then the dog can do all that stuff that he can do on a lead, but without one.
Correct.
Is that-
yeah.
okay.
If you
All
certified in obedience, yeah, which is actually kind of difficult, man. It's it took a we were probably in my academy class we were probably as far as what the instructors were telling me is that we were the top in the class of being right there.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't certify first, and it was very frustrating. And all the older handlers will tell you, you know, that frustration goes down the lead. And let me tell you, that thing is that saying is real. You know, if I'm frustrated, if I'm not happy, Arlo knows about it, and he can sense it, and he does not perform. So that's why it's very important for the handler itself to keep calm, cool, and collective. Because if you don't, you show frustration or you're upset or whatever, the dog's going to know about it, and that dog's going to kind of shut down.
Wow.
And I've seen it, too, even with Arlo.
So that's why you're always so excited to come out and
Oh,
track
yeah.
when we have stuff going.
Oh, yeah.
We will be at the beginning of our shift. So Danny and I work the same rotation, but he's on days and I'm on nights, so I'm coming in as he's leaving. So he'll get home, he'll text me and my buddies that are on my shift, be like, "You guys gonna get me a track tonight? You guys gonna get me called out?"
Nice.
I told my wife that last night. I said, I started laughing after we were texting back and forth.
Yeah.
And she goes, "What are you laughing at?" I go, "I just told Doug and all those guys to give me a track tonight because I want to get 2 this weekend."
Yeah, I do have another question. You know, sometimes on the Cop House podcast, we'll try to give advice to young police officers who might be listening. For the young officer who's listening, I guess maybe I have 2 questions. But for the young officer who's listening, working patrol, not a K-9 officer, how can a non-K-9 officer best help you on a track? I've been on a lot of tracks. Doug's been on a lot of tracks with the K-9 officer. How can we best help you?
You know, I just did a kind of a quick brief to Doug's shift the other night about this.
Oh, good.
So yeah, no. You know, if you think at any point in time you're going to use a K-9, you know, that decision's kind of, in my opinion, it's got to be made relatively sooner than later. You know, so you got to, you know, notify your supervisor. At least we do. You know, and then they make the call to us because ultimately they're the people who pay us, right?
Yeah, right.
So they have to authorize that.
They're the keepers of the
Yeah.
overtime.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know.
And I have had deputies call me, "Hey, I'm going to need you." Okay, did you call the supervisor?
Yeah. Does the sergeant
No.
know?
I'm like, okay, well they're the ones that authorize my overtime. So
you can't call me in.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, and that was at, oh my gosh. So I'm sorry to get sidetracked here,
That's
but
all right.
that was at 6:58. Okay, I started my shift at 7:00.
Yeah.
So I'm like, son of a gun. That was 6:58. He's got to call the supervisor, explain to the supervisor what is going to happen
Yeah.
or why he needs a dog.
Right.
And then the
There goes
supervisor
your
will call me. 7:01, the supervisor calls me. "Hey, can you start making your way for domestic suspect?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." There goes my 3 hours of overtime.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Why couldn't you have called 5 minutes earlier?
Right,
Right,
exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Oh man.
No, but you know, back to the original question. You know, yeah, you know, figure out what you have. You know, and if you're going to need a dog relatively sooner than later, you know, make that decision, or run it by your supervisor. The biggest thing too is what we have problems with is, you know, other officers, deputies, troopers, whatever. They think they're going to find the bad guy, so they're going to contaminate, is what we call it, contaminate the area by walking around, looking in sheds, looking in trash cans, whatever.
Right.
Now you're mucking up all that human odor.
Yep.
You know, as if, and we've tracked and we've been successful in the trailer park, which is very contaminated. Lots of odors, dog crap, pee, all that stuff, and just the human odor in general. So it's already hard enough to track in that. I don't need more, people adding to it. So
I always say, Danny, nobody ruins a crime scene like a firefighter.
Yeah.
And nobody.
Oh, I got a story for that one too.
Well, and nobody ruins a track like cops.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, that's 100%.
cops kind of ruin crime scenes too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. So just basically, you got to figure out what you got and make that decision sooner rather than later. My recommendation is, and don't contaminate the scene. And if you do, it's okay. The handler is going to be upset, but my God, let him know about it.
Sure.
Don't let him find out the next day or something, or after that track or something like that. You know what I mean? Let him know, and let him know where you walked or whatever.
Okay.
Or even I would say too is, remember where you seen the person last. If you seen him running away, remember pick a landmark. I was telling these guys, pick a landmark, because God, if he's running into the woods, which is very ideal to track in because there's no human odor, and the only human odor that should be in there is a bad guy.
Right.
Pick a landmark.
Or 15 cops.
Right.
Just,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Pick a landmark to remember, or mark it somehow.
Okay. Doug, I have a million questions, but we should probably get to some cool stories.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right.
Just for time's sake here.
All right.
Yeah.
You said you had one about finding a suicidal person.
Yes.
Do you want to start with that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can. So this was a Thursday. I had K-9 training that day, right? Because we train bi-weekly on Thursdays, and I was down the road from this park, and the city police, they had a suicidal subject. He told his son he was gonna hang himself in the woods. Okay, kind of vague about it, but about where he was gonna do it, but nonetheless. So I was down the road from this park. I seen the city was out, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. So I drive down there. Well, it's the guy's car. Guy's car is at the park. So I get out. I'm talking to the city officer. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, yeah, this guy said, to his kid he's going to hang himself in the woods. I was like, oh, okay. Do you want to track? And he's like, well, it's up to you. I said, how long the car's been here? GPS, because the car's got GPS on it. He said, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's pretty old for trying to track somebody, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm like, man, 2 hours? Oh, dude. I've never done a 2-hour-old track, So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what's it going to hurt?
To try it, yeah.
Just try it. Just cast him out, So I get Arlo out, put his vest on, and I take him over by the vehicle.
What's his vest? Is that bullet
So
resistant?
he just got a new vest.
Okay.
So that's stab and bullet resistant.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I was curious.
Yeah, no worries.
Right.
So I take him over by the vehicle, talk to the city officer. He's like, I said, hey, did you go by the car at all? No, I haven't even approached it. No, nothing. Okay, cool, perfect. Cast Arlo over by the driver's side. I tell him, Souk, which is command to track. And he starts he goes through this fence, this wooden fence, decorative fence. I hop that fence, and we're taking off, right? And now this area, for people that aren't familiar with this particular park, and I know I didn't say the name of it. Can I say the name?
Probably not.
We kind of don't
All
mention current departments where we work for,
Yeah.
so to kind of keep that vague, we'll just
All right. So
City Park.
So yeah, so this
mystery
park, there's
park.
there's
Right.
there's a railroad track that runs behind it. Okay, and you know what I'm talking about. And
I think so. Yeah.
there's a homeless encampment back there, so lots of trash, human odor, people just hanging out, living, right? So I'm like, man, I know where he's going. He's taking me right back there. it's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we're going. He takes me back to the railroad tracks. We start heading eastbound down the railroad tracks, and we're passing all these cutouts that the homeless people have made to walk towards the Wendy's and businesses and stuff like that. And he stops, and you know his nose is on the ground the entire time. Stops.
Does that indicate he's on something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
All
tells me that he's tracking. What he's tracking, I don't know. He's
Yeah,
tracking
right.
a rabbit. He's tracking a deer. He's done that to me before, too.
Oh.
You know, it took me to freaking 3 does.
A
Yeah.
Wendy's cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Right.
So he darts down this one path and takes me to this construction staging site. And I'm like,
Oh, now I know what park you're talking about. All right.
what? Yeah. I'm like, I see his T-shirt, his long sleeve T-shirt, sweatshirt or whatever it was, on the ground. He smells it. He keeps going. I yell at the city officer. I'm like, hey, is this what the guy was wearing? He goes, no, I don't think so. Arlo's still kind of, you know, he's doing one of these, you know, where he's going around smelling things, filling his curiosity is what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, he takes off towards this other set of woods.
Mm.
And he's trying to get in these woods, and I'm like, dude, what? I don't see. It's so thick.
Mm.
What is he doing?
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, "Ruff, ruff," barking. He goes over to the left side.
When Arlo in particular, when he barks, does that mean something's up? He's on something, or
Yeah. But
Okay.
then again, you know, it's in my mind because I'll be PG here. We screw our dogs up more than anybody else, right? Because we know. We're humans. We know everything, right? So naturally, right, no, bad guy didn't go over there. You pull him over here, you know, or
Right.
pull him off the track, you know.
okay.
So there's an old saying, "Trust your dog," and I have a sticker that says "Trust your dog"
Okay.
that I keep with me. So,
Right.
Anyway, so he's trying to get into this patch of woods. He takes me over to the left. Nothing. I can't get in there. He can't get in there. Takes me over to the right. I see the guy.
Mm.
He's right there in the woods.
Wow.
This guy's hanging a noose from the tree.
Oh my
He
goodness.
sees me, he starts tying it tighter, faster. I'm like, oh my God. I yelled his name, and he's not. He stops moving. I'm like, well, it's so thick that I don't know if he like jumped off of something. And
Yeah.
How
now
far,
he's-
like how
he's
far away
swinging.
from you is he? Like at that point?
Man, I'd say probably 80 yards, but it's so thick
Oh,
back
okay.
there. You know, he was wearing a bright blue sweatshirt. That's really all I could see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I see like the sweatshirt, you know, from his arms going faster, and then I yell his name and he stops. And I'm like, oh man, he jumped or something. And so I yelled to the other guys, you know, that were running with me. I'm like, hey, he's over here. They came over, and he was fine. He was fine. He didn't.
Wow.
I think he just got kind of nervous. You know, just stopped moving all entirely.
Did he have a rope with him?
Yeah,
Did
it was on the tree.
Yeah,
It
okay.
was tying to the tree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good
So
work.
2-hour-old track.
Good
and
job,
that was,
Arlo.
That was
Man.
17 minutes, or I'm sorry, 12 minutes. Our first one was 17 minutes. No one's keeping track of the times here.
So from the time you get to that car to the time you find him in the woods, that's 12 minutes.
12
on
minutes.
a 2-hour-old track
2-hour-old
through a
track.
super contaminated area.
Yes.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
That-
impressive.
That is
And
cool.
it impressed me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal. Do you guys have a story that you were on together that you kind of, when we were talking offline,
Mhm.
it sounded like you were
Oh,
both-
we got two. We got those two. We got the
Yeah.
one.
well,
I didn't have as much of a role in the other one because I ended up being a perimeter unit on
Yeah.
the more recent one, unfortunately. But
Okay.
You want to go with that first one that you were running with me?
yeah. There's another municipality within our county who had a guy take off on him. Yeah, he was I don't even remember why he was investigating him. He was investigating him for some reason at a gas station or something. The guy took off on him.
It was suspicious. It come out as suspicious at first,
Was it?
and then everything else kind of fell into play.
He was investigating him for some reason, and he took off on him, and they ended up requesting additional units. And I mean, it's a small municipality within our county, so he was the only guy from his department
Yeah.
working. So
We
his
physically fought with them too.
so his only backup is us, the sheriff's office.
Yep,
So all
right.
the district cars go out there, and you were actually, I think you were already at work, but you were just about to go home.
Yeah, I just came home from K-9 training. Yeah.
Yes, you were just at the station shooting the breeze with us, about to leave.
Dropping my body camera off. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, and go out there and try to coordinate as best we can, get people to set a perimeter, talk to the guy from the city PD, and see where he last saw him, where a good place to start the track was if you want to take it over from there.
Let me interrupt. What was he being investigated for? Do you know or do you not know? Or?
I think he had
yeah.
some warrants from a different jurisdiction.
It was a suspicious behavior. Okay, so somebody called in like, this guy's acted weird. So after the officer gets there, he learns, okay, this guy's got warrants.
Okay.
All right. Now it's time to go to jail. All right. Then they fought. He takes off running, pepper sprayed him, and then tased him. And then dude takes off running. Coincidentally, I went to high school with the guy, so I know what he looks like and what his name is.
Yeah, the guy who took off running is kind of irregular with us.
Yeah.
So
Oh yes,
Right.
yes, a lot of mental health.
the city guy told us his name. We're like, oh,
Yeah,
we know him.
Yeah, yeah.
Which the city guy didn't know him.
I can't believe that.
He told us, we're like, yeah, we all know him.
So it started as a suspicious person.
Yep.
It escalated to warrants.
Yep.
It escalated to resist obstruct a police officer.
Yep. And then he had a loaded needle in the. The officer said he had a loaded needle in the air vent.
Yeah, he
Just
stuck
chilling.
he stuck it in the vent. It was just hanging out there.
Yeah. And then it turned into a retail fraud at the gas station.
Yeah, that's right. Because while he was investigating him, I think
Yeah.
it was like the cashier at the gas station come out and was like, "Hey, he just stole some stuff too."
Okay, so
Yeah.
retail fraud or a shoplifting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So enters Arlo.
Yeah. So I get there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to this officer, and he tells me, the guy. I was like, he's telling me this story. I'm like, listen. That's a great story and everything, but where did you last see him running?
Yeah, we can talk about this later. But
I'm the dog guy, not a prosecutor. What do you?
Yeah. So he tells me he's running down that sidewalk, and he's, he took off towards that entrance ramp to the highway, and we checked back there behind the Arby's, and we lost sight of him. Okay, whatever. So I'll do what I can. So I get Arlo after an 8-hour training day. He's already tired,
Yep.
and I'm asking him to do this.
right.
Okay, so get him out, put his vest on, hook him up to the tracking lead, and we go over to where the generalized area of where the officer said he's seen him. I said, Sook. He goes, starts tracking, boom, and then he takes me southbound along the highway, and then he wants to jump a fence. So we jumped the fence. I threw him over the fence.
After an 8-hour training,
Yeah.
he decides he wants to jump a fence.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, and this fence, how tall would you say that fence was?
Which one? The one that I fell off of?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is it with you and fences?
Did you listen to the one last episode?
Yeah.
Hey, folks, listen to episode 7 of the Cop House podcast,
I
and you
fell
will hear
off
Doug
another
talking about
fence.
what is it with you?
I don't know.
Quit falling off fences. Okay, I'm done.
So,
In your defense, this fence was not.
this fence was terrible. This
was
was like
terrible.
a wire farm
Yes,
fence that was
yes.
it was probably, I don't know, 4.5, maybe 5 feet high.
There were, yeah.
But it's a wire fence. It's not like a
It's
chain
a lot
link
of flex,
fence.
lot of flex into it.
And also, growing up on the other side of the fence was like super dense, like brush and reeds, and there was a tree growing
Yeah.
up through it.
Okay.
And I tried to get over it, and I fell and scratched my face and arm up, and
Yeah.
it was great.
So earlier when the fence that Harlow wanted to go, when he wanted to cross, it was a lot smaller. So I'm like, all right, this is and it's bent over and damaged, and I'm like, all right, cool, we can do this. So we go over the fence, and he tracks along the fence on the west side of it, and we're going down, we're tracking. We track what probably 200-300 yards, something like that. He stops, he turns, and he's trying to get to this fence where Doug fell over.
Yeah.
And I look over, boom, flash my light, and there he is. He's running across through the ditch, through the cattails, and he's running up across the highway. And I'm like, there he is right there, Sheriff's Office K-9. And, he's not complying. So, and did you see him too, or did you just hear him?
I caught like a glimpse of his sweatshirt. You got
Okay.
You got a better look at him, because that it wasn't the earlier fence. That was the one I fell over because
Yeah.
you started shouting that you saw him. I caught a glimpse of him. So I tried to hit the fence to chase him on foot.
Yeah.
And it just, this fence was so screwy. It took me too long to get over it.
Yeah.
And,
it was. It was terrible. So, anyways, so we had.
But I mean, that's a win for Arlo, though.
It's a win. Yeah, I counted it. It was a successful track.
Yeah, because Arlo took you straight to him.
Yeah, yeah. But here's the thing: this is why your perimeter units are so important.
Yeah.
It's because we had 2 people on the perimeter that was at the base of that entrance ramp that he ran I'd say 200 yards in front of, and they're just hanging out, shooting the breeze.
They didn't get him?
No.
Okay.
He started getting tired after that, and we did another track after from some witness that said he seen him. And Arlo ended up taking me back to the area. I think he backtracked back to the area of where he would have ran from us from the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do have a question, and Danny, when at some point you have to make a decision, you're going to release the dog to go get him. Was he too far away to do that, or
Well,
do you not do that?
So you got to think of your surroundings.
Right.
We're along the highway.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to throw him over a fence.
Right.
And tell him Stellan on a guy who is running towards the highway.
Yes.
Because I don't. If the guy gets hit, that's it. He made that decision.
Right.
Okay. Sorry for his family and everything, but he made that decision to put himself in harm's way. I'm not going to put my dog in harm's way when the dog doesn't know what he's running into.
Gotcha. All right.
You know, and I know I can't live with myself like that.
So there's a couple factors in mind. I'm sorry, Doug, to cut
Nope,
you
you're
off.
good.
There's a couple factors in mind that I'm guessing you consider: how far away the guy is, and any potential hazards that you could be sending the dog into. Okay, I got you.
Which we actually, I think it wasn't even until we figured out that he had run across the freeway, because on the other side of this fence is like a big embankment that goes up to the freeway and down the embankment, but on the other side of the fence there's a bunch of brush and reeds and cattails and stuff. We thought he
dug
just
that out.
Yeah, we thought he bedded. We didn't even try to go across the freeway because we thought he bedded down in there somewhere. So we spent, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes trying to kick bushes and stuff in this little embankment area because we figured
which would make sense because we heard him running through the cattails and I seen him run through the cattails, but that stuff is so dry because it's wintertime. It's all dead. You know, it's so crunchy that you would have heard him like running through some more, and it would make sense from hearing it and seeing him that he ran through the one time and went straight across the highway.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of like a hindsight is 20/20 thing. So I mean, we didn't catch the guy that night, because of that. But win for Arlo took you straight to him,
right?
You know,
Yep, that's a win for sure.
Yeah.
Do you wanna tell them about the one the first one that I was there with you for? The not trying to give away our area too much with road names and stuff, but the one where
his first one,
the one where Jake had him and he ran into it. The guy ran into a trailer park.
Yeah, that's
is that the trailer park one you were talking about?
Yeah.
That was a cool one.
Yeah.
Which that one for me kind of changed my opinion. We were talking about this the other day. Almost kind of changed my opinion of K-9s because up until that point, I don't think I've ever seen a K-9 track actually work.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'd had a couple in Detroit, but I mean, we had better luck in Detroit, and it's probably because of contamination too. Like you were talking about, super densely.
Those urban areas are so hard to track in unless you're training all the time.
Yeah.
Which I should probably do that myself because it working for a rural area, you know, it's a lot easier to find places to train training tracks, you know, on outside of the hustle and bustle of the cities. But sometimes if I have to track in the city, you know, it's probably good that I, you know, continue focusing on more of that urban environment tracking.
Yeah.
So do we have time for another story, Doug? We're at the fifth. You know,
Yeah, I mean, we're at about 55 minutes. I mean, we've been going hour 15, hour 20. So I mean, we got time left.
Good.
But yeah, that one kind of changed my opinion of K-9s. I always just thought, you know, having worked in Detroit, and you know, talking to you now, I realize it's probably because it's a horrible environment for the dogs. But I mean, we always, when we're trying to find people, we always had better luck with, you know, like the helicopter and stuff like that. I just never seen a K-9 track work until that one.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, that was our first one. I think it might have been our first call out too.
That one was cool.
Oh, dude. So I get a call from, our dispatch, and I'm like, what are you calling me for? And they're like, hey, supervisor, I'm not going to say his name, but supervisor needs you to be over here. They had somebody run from a traffic stop. I said, okay, we're at over here. Okay. It's like midnight or something, or 1 in the morning. I was tired.
Yeah,
I was
it was late.
I was sleeping, so.
Yeah.
I'm
Made
like,
good
all right.
time getting up there.
Yeah. Lights and sirens, man. I roll over. My wife wakes up. She goes, you got to go in. I said, yeah. I told her, we're like 45 minutes away from where I live,
Yeah.
And I'm like, we ain't going to find this guy.
Right.
Yeah. I get Arlo up, and our routine is when we get called out, I get up. He gets up naturally with me, and he's all excited and stuff. You're running around. He does the Mal spin. We call it the Malinois spin. So he just spins around until you open the door, and he goes. So we go downstairs. I let him out. He uses the bathroom. I break him, and then I'll go downstairs in my basement where I keep all my uniforms and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll get ready. I'll come back upstairs, and then bring him inside, and then we go out to the car. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our routine, and we did that, and then I turn my lights and sirens on. I make the scene relatively soon, and I get out, and I talk to the deputy who had made the traffic stop and chased him. He chased him for a brief period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no big deal, but he remembered where he had last seen him, and that's what was crucial. So
he had run basically south on this main road and then dipped into a trailer park, and that was where he lost him.
Yep, you lost him in the trailer park, run through trailers. So I was like, okay. So I get Arlo out. I break him one more time.
What do you mean you break him?
Let him use the bathroom.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
he does his little marking, his peeing on trees or whatever he does, And so I take him over there, and we start the trek. And he takes me down the main street of the trailer park. We go take a left, so we're heading northbound now. We were going eastbound, now we're going northbound. We go in between two trailers, and he's kind of showing some interest in this shed. Not giving it too much attention, but he's curious about it. Well, again, don't fault me, but I'm still very brand new at this.
Yeah.
But I was even more brand new, and we were still trying to learn how to do police work together.
Right.
So, I think I pulled him off of it the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. So I was like, come on, let's go, Sook. And he
You obviously didn't have your pin on that said "Trust your dog."
Yeah, no,
Okay,
no,
all right.
no. So we go tracking. This dog takes me back to the traffic stop. I'm like, oh man. I was like,
So he tracked it backwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He tracked it backwards.
All right.
And I'm like, oh man. I was like, let's go back to the start again and cast him out in a different area.
Yeah.
So we go back to the start. Arlo took me back to the same path, and he went right back to that shed. And then he opened that shed with his nose, and he starts barking. And I'm like, holy, there's a guy in there. And I'm like, Sheriff's Office K-9, put your hands up, you're under arrest. Whatever,
Lo and behold, there he is.
Yeah.
Wow, this stuff really works.
Wow, can't believe it.
This dude was so scared. He's crying. He's like, don't let the dog bite me.
I was on the perimeter for this one. I was on the perimeter on the main road side because we were trying to keep him bedded down in the trailer park somewhere. And the guy who made the traffic stop was tracking with you.
Yep.
And he gets on the radio, and he says, we got him in a shed at this intersection. I'm a little further down the road. There was another unit that was like right at the entrance to the trailer park. And as soon as he said that unit didn't move. So I'm like, I floor it into the trailer park. I jump out of the car, and all I see is Arlo going nuts. You're going, good boy, Arlo, good boy, good boy. And I see the guy who made the traffic stop with his gun out, pointed at the guy. Don't move, get on your face. I'm like, okay, well, I guess they need somebody to grab the guy or
Yeah.
something.
Handcuff him.
Yeah.
So I dip out of my car at a full tilt and slide into the guy and cuff him up. It was cool. It was fun.
That was a lot of fun. I couldn't sleep. Could not sleep, man.
You called me right after that, just over the moon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that was your first?
It was our first one. Yeah.
Was that your first track or your first successful track?
our first successful track?
Wow.
It was probably our first call out, I think,
Wow.
too.
Cool. Well, yeah,
So-
obviously you had no idea why dispatch was calling you. Why are you
Yeah,
calling me?
yeah.
right.
I was like, I thought the supervisor calls me.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
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 So yeah, it
Cool.
was good.
Cool
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Nothing like hunting a human.
Yeah, right.
Well, Arlo is a very, very good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust your dog, right?
You trust your dog.
Yeah, right.
I think I'm out of questions.
I'm out of questions, and we could probably tell a lot more stories, but we should think about maybe our closing ritual here.
Yeah, I mean, Danny, do you have anything else that you think is interesting or beneficial for people to know that you just want to throw out there, or something we didn't ask about or talk about?
Yeah, I think the main thing to think about, is I understand, if you get into a pursuit or something like that, and the adrenaline's pumping, and you're excited, and you want to get bad guy, but try to take a deep breath and think about your next steps, and if you're going to need a dog or not, and to make that decision sooner rather than later. That's really all I have to kind of expand on. Because like I spoke to one of our coworkers, and he was a little overzealous, let his emotions get to him, and kind of muddied the waters. So, and he recognized it. So,
Good
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
yeah.
Good advice. Yep.
All right. I got nothing else. You got anything else there?
No, sir.
I guess we'll do our little closing ritual. Well, make sure to follow us on social media. We are the Cop House Podcast on Facebook and at Cop House Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Do we still do Twitter?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
X, whatever it's called.
Yeah, whatever it's called,
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
right.
Whatever you're listening on, be that Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. If you wouldn't mind, just leave us a review. Maybe recommend us to a friend. The reviews do help us get recommended in the recommended section of those podcast platforms.
And to our brothers and sisters out there who are doing policing. Maybe you're working the road. Maybe you're a K-9 handler. Maybe you're investigations. To all of you, thank you for your service. God bless you and be careful.
Be safe, everybody.